Welcome back, folks. I'm Frizz, and today we've got some big news. Around a week ago, Paizo announced that they are going to be releasing 4 new books with the Pathfinder 2e Remaster project. Effectively, Paizo is going to be going back over pretty much everything that they've already published and tweaking and adjusting things so that they can separate from the open gaming license and Wizards of the Coast. This is all really exciting, and I am so looking forward to it. Before we get into what we actually know about the remaster, I'd first like to say that you shouldn't worry about not being able to play the game anymore if you don't buy the new books, or having to entirely relearn the system. Everything new is going to be backwards compatible, and they aren't fundamentally changing the system. This is effectively Pathfinder 2.1e, not Pathfinder 2.5. All of the changes and adjustments are going to be online for free. Of course, I still encourage you to buy these books since supporting the Orc publishing license is just a good thing for the TTRPG scene. Really, separating from Wizard of the Coast is just a good thing. But anyway, right now we know of 4 books that are a part of the Pathfinder 2e Remaster. In release order, there is Player Core 1, GM Core, Monster Core, then Player Core 2. Player Core, because it's not Player Core 1, I misspoke, is effectively going to be a new version of the core rulebook, and it's going to have a ton of classes, ancestry, and adjusted old rules. GM Core bundles together loot, alternate systems for GMing like free archetype, and lore about the Lost Omen settings, and just all kinds of stuff that's useful for GMs that may have previously been in the core rulebook, but really belong more in a book specifically for GMs. Both of these books are going to be coming out later this year in November. Monster Core is basically going to be a reprinting of bestiaries, but with all of the copyrighted monsters either removed entirely or renamed. You know, for legal reasons. Monster Core is probably going to be released around March of 2024. Finally, Player Core 2 contains basically every class that isn't in Player Core 1, the archetypes from the Advanced Player's Guide, other ancestries, versatile heritages, and just tons of other stuff. All of that is currently scheduled for release in July of 2024. We don't have it confirmed whether or not literally they're going to be going over everything. I highly doubt it, but I believe that if they don't go over like every single archetype, they're going to have a conversion kind of checklist for archetypes that they didn't touch. And most archetypes, I think, are going to be perfectly fine, even without being touched. With that out of the way, let's talk about why I'm so excited, outside of me just being a Pathfinder nut. First of all, there is a lot of legacy elements of Pathfinder 2e that are being taken out, because they didn't really have any reason for existing outside of they were in D&D and we haven't gotten rid of them yet. For example, ability scores are gone, but modifiers are still here. That might seem significant, but outside of boosting an ability score above 18, ability scores literally don't matter, and they are going to have a system for boosting ability scores above 18. Monsters literally haven't had ability scores ever since 2e came out, and that didn't impact them at all. There's also going to be some terminology changes that have been a very long time coming, like how there aren't going to be spell levels anymore. Instead, they're going to be called spell ranks, which will hopefully stop a lot of confusion. I know that whenever I first started playing D&D, I didn't know why you couldn't cast a level 5 spell when you were level 5. Terminology is important, people. Another quick and easy legacy change that you can easily implement right now, and I think you probably should, is that rogues and wizards are finally getting in the modern era. Rather than having super weird weapon proficiencies that are made to match older editions, now they're just gonna have the same types of weapon proficiencies as everyone else. So yeah, wizards are now proficient in all simple weapons, and rogues are proficient in all martial weapons, like a real martial class. Outside of those small tweaks, there's also apparently going to be some rules clarifications, new spells, and some adjustments to some types of gear. I'm personally hoping for a more variable action spells like Magic Missile, or as it's known now, Force Missile, since those are just tons of fun. I'm also particularly interested in how they're going to be adjusting talismans, since I've never actually seen anyone use them frequently, and basically every single person I've ever played with just wants to spend their money on permanent items or healing potions, rather than very situationally useful consumables. Now let's get into the big stuff though. The largest mechanical change that Paizo's making in the remake is that alignment no longer exists. In my personal opinion, it's been a very long time coming. Alignment is an incredibly reductive system of representing morality, and it just doesn't work in a lot of situations. Like, what is lawful? Like, mechanically, you can shoot a divine lance at someone on the street that deals good damage. But does that mean that if they take damage from it, they're a bad person? Like, there's all different scales of how evil is someone. Are they evil in every way? Basically, alignment is a mess. And I'm very happy that Paizo's cutting it. They aren't getting rid of ways to represent PC morality overall, though. Instead of just picking a box on a 3x3 grid and then checking it off, instead it seems like they're going to be using a new system of tenets and anathemas, similar to how deities work. I'm not certain exactly how this is going to work exactly, but I'm guessing it's going to be similar to the intention system that has already been published in the Game Mastery Guide, since that also replaces alignment. Effectively, you draw lines in the sand of what your character really cares about and what is significant to them, like they will never betray their family or their friends. Because that tells you more than just they're good. And really, it's just more personal than saying, well, I'm lawful good, so I shouldn't do that. It's just a better system. There is one upside to how alignment works in 2E though, and that is using alignment damage against outsiders, or fiends and celestials and all of those subcategories that were called outsiders in 1E, and I'm forever going to use the term. But playing a good divine character and being able to absolutely demolish fiends using good damage was incredibly satisfying, and fantastic for playing into the fantasy of being a holy warrior. That isn't going to go away, since good and evil are just being changed into holy and unholy damage respectively. We haven't heard if law or chaos damage are being changed yet, but I would be honestly shocked if they're removed, and I'm actually fine with the with like keeping them as law or chaos damage, though maybe law could be order instead. That hasn't been confirmed yet, but I'm expecting that every character is going to be able to take holy and unholy damage, and the as yet to be confirmed law/order or chaos damage. But I'm expecting that outsiders like fiends will still have a weakness to holy damage, so that divine characters can actually use their spells to really mess up very opposing outsiders. But they're not completely screwed over the instant that they try to use damaging spells on anything else. Now, the other significant-ish changes that we know about are a couple of classes and the focus point system. We literally have no idea how focus points are going to be changed, but apparently it's going to be a bit more straightforward. Perhaps they'll simplify it so that you automatically increase how many focus points you get back, rather than need to pick feats for it, or maybe they'll cap your focus point maximum while also increasing how much you get back after refocusing. I have legitimately no clue, but straightening forward the system is not a bad thing. Of the 4 classes that Paizo specifically said that they're going to be revising, we do know the least about what the Oracle and Alchemist adjustments are going to be. They're planning on making classes more engaging and fun, but what exactly that means we don't know. The Alchemist is apparently getting a complete rework, which honestly is pretty needed in my eyes by this point, because the Alchemist has been adjusted so many times and people still aren't happy. The Witch is also going to be getting some adjustments, which I'm certain has a lot of people happy. It seems as if Paizo wants to lean more into making it like witches have a distinct identity, rather than them just being somewhat spooky wizards. I'm personally interested in how they want to make and encourage interacting with your patron on top of making hex spells better. Like, your patron currently, rules as written, has no impact on you outside of a couple of spells and your spell tradition. Personally, I'd love to see a witch's familiar getting unique and powerful familiar abilities automatically based on your chosen patron and lessons as you level up, on top of already having all of their familiar abilities that they have now. The final class being adjusted is the Champion, for what I feel like are obvious reasons once you think about it. Champions are the class that leans on the alignment system the most in the game, so with the alignment's removal, they kinda need to be changed or they just won't work. I'm honestly just really looking forward to see what they're doing with Champions, since it's always bothered me that certain causes are limited to particular alignments. You don't have to be chaotic good to want to dedicate yourself to fighting against slavers. That's just not necessarily a chaotic thing, it's just like common sense. I don't expect that there's going to be dramatic shifts in what the champions do mechanically, just adjustments to their tenets, which is also going to make it easier to have other, maybe a bit more morally dubious champions later on. After all, if you're following the tenets of being a paladin, I think you're a paladin regardless of whether or not your character sheet says that you're lawful good, because the tenets are really what matters. So yeah, we don't know exactly what is going to be in these books, or what's going to be changed, but I'm excited to see it. And we're going to see the first kind of these changes with Rage of the Elements, because it is incorporating the changes, so alignment isn't going to exist for Rage of the Elements. So I'm looking forward to it. Most of the changes that they're making are almost certainly just because of legal reasons, but this is the best chance that Paizo is going to get to tweak 2E's rules, and I really hope that they take it, and I trust that they will. Please don't worry about having to relearn 2E as a whole. This is a remaster and maintenance, not a complete rebuild of the system as a whole. And yeah, I'm super goddamn excited for this. Thanks for watching. I'm so looking forward to seeing more about the remaster later this month at PaizoCon and probably later this year at Gen Con. So what do you guys think about it? Please let me know in the comments down below, because this is huge news for Pathfinder. While you're down there, please consider subscribing and joining as a member, so you don't have to see videos like these, which are about timely news, the week delayed. Members get videos a full week early, and my current members, Hector Vivis and Silmaris, really help me out financially. Regardless, until I see you next, live a wonderful life.